China has installed over 40 million of these devices in rural households. India has installed over 5 million. Germany operates 9,000 commercial versions of the same principle. Every installation converts kitchen scraps, garden clippings, and organic waste into combustible gas that powers stoves, lights, and generators continuously at zero fuel cost beyond the organic material already being discarded. A correctly built residential version costs between $80 and $150 in materials available at any hardware store. It has no moving parts, it produces no waste, only gas and a concentrated fertilizer that replaces synthetic inputs worth hundreds of dollars annually. The United States has fewer than 10,000 residential installations. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why and what it would take to change that. This technology provides energy from the very waste we discard. It reduces energy costs by nearly 100% and provides heat and light without a single watt of grid electricity. Yet, only 47 sites were ever funded in America before the budget was zeroed out. This is the story of why. The gas was first identified not by an engineer, but by a Flemish physician investigating the nature of air itself. Jan Baptist van Helmont documented what he called gas sylvester, a flammable gas rising from decomposing organic matter in marshes. He did not understand its chemistry, but he documented it with enough precision that later researchers could identify exactly what he had observed. That identification arrived in 1776, when Italian physicist Alessandro Volta conducted systematic experiments on lake sediments. Volta collected gas bubbling from the disturbed lake bottom, confirmed its combustibility, and published his characterization in 1778. The gas was methane. The process was anaerobic digestion. The world waited 81 years for the first practical application. That application arrived in Bombay in 1859 at a municipal institution serving a colony of leprosy patients. An engineer named Shiv Kumar constructed a sealed brick digestion chamber connected to the institution's sewage flow. A gas collection dome was fitted above the digesting material, piping fuel directly to cooking stoves and lighting fixtures. It worked from the first lighting. The fuel was human and kitchen waste. The cost was merely the construction of the chamber. The technology spread slowly across Asia and Europe, adopted wherever organic waste was abundant and fuel was expensive. The Chinese government launched the first national biogas program in 1958, aiming to solve the rural energy crisis. By 2020, over 100 million Chinese households were cooking and heating from the waste produced by their own kitchens. The closest the technology came to mainstream American adoption was the late 1970s, under the Carter administration. 47 farm-scale biogas digesters were funded across 14 states. The results were undeniable. They worked. Then, in 1982, the new administration eliminated the funding. The research was archived. The program was closed. The residential biogas digester works through anaerobic digestion, the biological breakdown of organic material by a community of microorganisms that operate exclusively in the absence of oxygen, producing methane gas and carbon dioxide as their metabolic outputs. The digestion process occurs in 4 sequential biological stages inside a sealed vessel. The first stage, hydrolysis, converts complex organic molecules into simpler compounds. Bacteria secrete enzymes that break down carbohydrates into sugars, proteins into amino acids, and fats into fatty acids and glycerol. The second stage, acidogenesis, converts those simpler compounds into organic acids, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide through the activity of acidogenic bacteria. The third stage, acetogenesis, converts the organic acids produced in stage 2 into acetic acid, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide through the activity of acetogenic bacteria. The fourth and final stage, methanogenesis, is where the gas is produced. Methanogenic archaea, microorganisms that belong to a domain of life distinct from bacteria, convert the acetic acid, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide from the preceding stages into methane and water. The methane accumulates in the gas space above the digesting slurry and is collected through a sealed outlet pipe. The methane content of residential biogas ranges from 55 to 70% by volume depending on feedstock composition. Kitchen scraps and food waste produce gas with higher methane content than garden clippings and woody material. The remaining gas is primarily carbon dioxide with trace quantities of hydrogen sulfide. A basic water scrubbing stage, bubbling the raw gas through a column of water, removes the majority of the hydrogen sulfide, producing gas suitable for direct use in standard propane appliances with minor jet adjustment. Cornell University's Department of Biological and Environmental Engineering published a residential-scale biogas digester performance study in the journal Bioresource Technology in 2015, documenting gas production rates of 0.3 to 0.5 cubic meters of biogas per kilogram of organic feedstock from kitchen waste, grass clippings, and vegetable garden material across a monitored residential installation. The average American household generates approximately 1 to 2 kilograms of organic waste per day. At the lower bound of both figures, that waste stream generates 300 liters of biogas daily, sufficient to cook 3 meals, power LED lighting for 4 hours, or run a small 1 kilowatt generator for 20 to 30 minutes of supplementary electrical output. The digester vessel itself is a sealed container, a standard 275-liter intermediate bulk container available at industrial surplus suppliers for $40 to $80, fitted with an inlet pipe for feedstock addition, an outlet pipe for gas collection, and an overflow pipe for the digested effluent, which exits as a liquid fertilizer with documented nitrogen and phosphorus content comparable to commercial synthetic fertilizers. But does this performance hold in real installations across real seasons, delivering real energy to real households? The most extensively documented national deployment of residential biogas digestion as a primary household energy source is China's National Biogas Program, a 40-year government initiative whose results are published annually by the Chinese Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs. The ministry's 2020 National Biogas Development Report documented that 41,800,000 household digesters were operating across rural China at year-end 2019. Annual gas production from those installations totaled approximately 15.2 billion cubic meters, equivalent to approximately 10.8 billion liters of propane in heating value terms. The average household digester in the dataset produced 360 to 500 liters of biogas per day from a feedstock of kitchen waste, pig and poultry manure, and crop residues. The ministry's economic analysis documented that participating households saved an average of 800 to 1,200 yuan, approximately $110 to $165 per year in fuel costs, while simultaneously producing liquid fertilizer that displaced synthetic fertilizer purchases, valued at an additional 300 to 500 yuan annually. In India, the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy's National Biogas and Manure Management Program has operated since 1981. The ministry's 2022 annual report documented over 5,100,000 household biogas plants installed across the country, concentrated in states with strong livestock agricultural bases: Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, and Karnataka. But here's where the story changes. Independent performance audits conducted by the Energy and Resources Institute in New Delhi and published in the journal Renewable Energy in 2019 confirmed average gas production of 1.2 to 2 cubic meters per day, sufficient to meet the full cooking energy requirement of a 4-person rural household from feedstock generated by 2 to 3 cattle and daily kitchen waste. In Germany, the Agency for Renewable Resources, the Fachagentur Nachwachsende Rohstoffe, documented 9,265 biogas plants operating across the country in its 2022 sector report, producing approximately 32 billion kilowatt hours of electricity annually from organic agricultural feedstocks. The report confirmed average plant availability of 92% across the monitored fleet, meaning the biogas generation system was producing gas during 92% of all operating hours. When Winter Storm Uri cut power to 4,500,000 Texas households in February 2021, and propane supplies were exhausted within days across the affected region. This is why you've never been told about it. A correctly operating residential biogas digester would have continued producing gas. The digestion process is biological. It continues as long as feedstock is added, and the slurry temperature remains above 10 degrees Celsius. An insulated below-grade installation maintains adequate digestion temperature throughout a Texas winter. The organic waste that fuels it accumulates every day, regardless of what the grid or the propane supply chain is doing. Every documented national program confirms the same performance outcome. Every grid failure confirms the same vulnerability of fuel-dependent generation. So why does the United States, the country that funded 47 demonstration installations and documented their success in 1982, have fewer residential biogas digesters than a single Chinese county? The global propane market was valued at approximately $87 billion in 2023. Here's exactly how to build one. AmeriGas, Ferrellgas, Superior Plus Energy Services, and Suburban Propane collectively supply the majority of residential propane in the United States. Each company's revenue depends on a consumption relationship that a biogas digester severs entirely. A household producing its own cooking and generation gas from kitchen waste and garden clippings purchases no propane for the loads the digester supplies. The fuel that drives the revenue model grows back in the garden every week and accumulates in the kitchen every day. The regulatory mechanism preventing residential biogas from connecting to household appliances in most American states is not a single federal statute, but a cascade of state-level plumbing and gas codes that classify any piped gas supply not originating from a licensed utility or certified compressed cylinder as an unpermitted gas system. The International Fuel Gas Code, adopted in whole or in part by most American states, defines approved gas supply sources as natural gas utilities and listed LP gas container systems. A residential biogas system that produces and pipes its own gas does not fit either category. A building inspector encountering a biogas pipe connected to a kitchen stove has no compliance pathway to approve the installation, and a professional liability reason to reject it. China's GB 4750 National Standard for Household Biogas Digesters has been in continuous revision since 1984, providing prescriptive design requirements, installation standards, and gas quality specifications that Chinese building officials reference directly. India's IS 9478 standard provides equivalent prescriptive guidance. Germany's DVGW G262 technical rule governing the use of biogas has been in force since 2004. Each country wrote a code table for organic waste converted to domestic gas. The American table was never written. For American homeowners, the practical path operates entirely outside the regulated gas infrastructure. A biogas digester producing gas for a dedicated small generator, not connected to household gas piping, not connected to the utility meter, simply producing gas from a sealed vessel and supplying a portable generator through a dedicated hose, requires no gas permit, no utility approval, and no licensed contractor in most jurisdictions. It is a fuel production system for a portable appliance. An IBC tote digester, a 275-liter sealed vessel, available from industrial surplus suppliers between $40 and $80, fitted with standard plumbing fittings, supplies a 1 kilowatt propane generator at a total system cost of $80 to $150 in materials. No one sat in a room and decided to ban biogas, but rather, the system was never designed to accommodate it, and instead focused on the mass-produced, profitable alternative. The organic waste fermenting in a sealed vessel was never given a column of its own. When Winter Storm Uri exhausted propane supplies across Texas in February 2021, and households with generators sat idle waiting for fuel deliveries that took weeks to arrive, the organic material that powers a biogas digester was accumulating in kitchen bins and garden waste piles across every affected property. Every apple core, every grass clipping, every vegetable peel. 41 million Chinese households would have had gas from that material within 24 hours of adding it to a sealed vessel that cost $80 to build. The Texans waited for a truck. The propane industry spent $87 billion last year selling fuel that runs out, requires delivery infrastructure, and fails precisely when the infrastructure is most stressed. Alessandro Volta confirmed that decomposing organic material produces combustible gas from Lake Maggiore sediment in 1776. The Bombay Municipal Administration piped it into cooking stoves in 1859. China deployed it to 41 million households over 40 years. The methanogens in a correctly fed digester do not know there is a grid failure. They do not know there is a propane shortage. They know only that there is organic material available and no oxygen present. The gas still forms, the stove still lights, the scraps still produce the fuel. The question was never whether it works. The question is why we're still asking why we don't use it. This is Off the Meter. Subscribe so you never miss the next solution the world forgot to use.